the sky over Earth changed one quiet afternoon. A giant ship appeared without warning. It was like a huge crystal shining in the sunlight. People all over the world stopped what they were doing and looked up. No one knew what it was or where it came from. Inside the ship was a queen. She was not like any person on Earth. She was very tall, nearly 13 feet. Her skin was a soft blue color, and her eyes were bright and sharp. Her name was Thalvara, and she was the ruler of a faraway star system called the Zarellan Empire. Thalvara was not here to fight. She came for something very unusual. She wanted to find a mate, a husband, someone to share her life with. In her empire, queens chose their partners carefully. They searched for strength, courage, and kindness. The humans fascinated her. Many species in the galaxy were strong or smart, but humans were special. They were small and fragile compared to the giant Zarellans. But they had something else, a strong heart and the will to survive. Thalvara believed that the right human could become a perfect partner. On Earth, news spread fast. Governments and scientists gathered to study the ship. The Queen sent a message in perfect Earth languages, offering peace and a unique chance. She said she would hold a contest, a competition to find her mate. The world was shocked. Some people were afraid. Others were curious. After much debate, Earth's leaders agreed to the plan. It was a chance to make friends with a powerful alien race. They called it the Bachelor Exchange Program. The Queen would meet humans, and one would be chosen to compete for her love. The question was, who would that human be? In Seoul, South Korea, lived a man named Jiho. He was a quiet person, not a hero or a leader. Jiho worked as a space engineer. He helped keep Earth's space stations running. While many dreamed of fighting aliens or exploring new worlds, Jiho preferred fixing things quietly in the background. Jiho was not tall. He was average in size and shy by nature. He liked reading books and watching old movies. But he was very good at his job. People trusted him to solve difficult problems in space where there was no room for mistakes. One day, Jiho was called to a special meeting. The government wanted to select one human to meet the Queen on her ship. They wanted someone who could show the best of humanity. After much thought, the leaders picked Jiho. At first, Jiho was shocked. He did not believe he was special. How could he be the one? But the more he learned about the Queen and her mission, the more he understood this was important. It was not about being a warrior or a celebrity. It was about being human and showing what humans could offer. On the day the Queen landed on Earth, the sky filled with excitement. Her ship came down gently in a large field outside Seoul. The giant craft shimmered in the sun like a living jewel. Thalvara stepped out. Her presence was strong and graceful. People stared at her tall figure, her shining blue skin, and the beautiful patterns on her robes. She looked powerful, but kind. Jiho was there, waiting nervously. He had never met an alien before, especially one like her. His heart beat fast as she approached. "Welcome, Jiho," Thalvara said in a voice that was both soft and strong. "I have heard much about your world. I am pleased to meet you." Jiho bowed respectfully. "I am honored, Your Majesty." They walked together to the ship's entrance. Inside, the ship was like nothing Jiho had ever seen. Walls glowed softly, and strange plants grew in shining pots. The air smelled fresh and clean. Thalvara showed him her world inside the ship, a small garden, a library with books from many planets, and a place where the stars outside looked close enough to touch. Back on Earth, people watched on screens as the Queen and Jiho talked. Many wondered how this simple engineer could capture the interest of such a grand alien queen. The Queen explained her plan. "In my empire, we choose mates through a contest of qualities, strength, wisdom, and heart. But more than that, we look for connection, a bond that grows deeper than words." Jiho listened carefully. He was nervous but also curious. This was not just about winning a contest. It was about learning, about understanding another being from far away. Thalvara smiled. I want to learn about you, Jiho, not just the engineer or the man who fixes things. I want to know the human inside. Jiho felt shy but began to open up. He spoke of Earth, of its people and their dreams. He talked about hope and fear, about love and loss. For the first time, he realized how special humans were, not because of strength or power, but because of their ability to care. As days passed, Jiho and Thalvara spent more time together. The Queen was fascinated by Earth's simple things: music, food, stories. She tried to taste Korean dishes like kimchi and rice cakes. Jiho laughed as she carefully chewed the spicy food, her face turning red but smiling. They shared stories of their worlds. Jiho told her about the space stations he worked on, the quiet moments in the stars. Thalvara shared tales of her empire, of battles fought and peace won, of her people's customs and dreams. Though they came from very different places, a friendship grew. Thalvara admired Jiho's calm strength. Jiho was amazed by the Queen's curiosity and warmth. But the contest had just begun. Thalvara had many other suitors from across the galaxy. Some were fierce warriors, others clever diplomats. They all wanted to win her favor and become her mate. The competition would soon move to her ship orbiting Earth, where the true test of heart and spirit would take place. Jiho was unsure. How could he, a simple human, compete with powerful aliens? But the Queen believed in him, and that gave him hope. Before the contest started, Thalvara made a promise. No matter what happens, Jiho, this is not just a game. It is a chance to show the strength of your people, to show the galaxy what humans can be. Jiho nodded. I will do my best. And so, the stage was set. The Intergalactic Bachelor contest would begin, and a 13-foot alien queen was ready to compete for the heart of a humble human engineer. The world watched with hope and wonder. Could a simple man from Earth win the love of a giant alien queen? Would this strange meeting change the fate of humanity forever? Only time would tell. The great crystal ship hovered above Earth, shining like a star. Inside, the atmosphere was alive with energy. The Queen's home planet and many other alien races were watching. This was a historic event, an alien queen searching for a mate among humans. And the chosen human, Jiho, was about to enter a contest unlike any other. Thalvara stood tall, calm, and proud. But inside, she felt nervous too. This was new for her. Usually, mates were chosen from her own people. But humans were different. And that made this contest even more important. The contest was set up like a game show, but with many challenges. It was not about fighting or weapons. The tests were about character, skill, and heart. Aliens from many worlds were also competing to win the Queen's favor. There were different types of competitors. Zelric, a strong warrior from the planet Norg, with armor that shone like steel. Vela, a clever diplomat with many languages in her mind. Torin, a quick thinker with gadgets and machines. And others, all with special skills and strong desire to win. They all looked strange to Jiho, but he was determined. He was not the strongest or the smartest, but he had something special, a human heart. In the beginning, the contestants met on the ship's great hall. The room was huge, glowing with lights and screens showing stars outside. The Queen stood at the center. Welcome to the contest, Thalvara said, her voice strong but kind. You will face challenges that test your mind, your spirit, and your heart. But most of all, I want to learn who you truly are. Jiho felt small among the giants and strange creatures. His hands shook a little, but he remembered why he was here. To show the strength of humans. Among all the people on the ship was Yuri, Jiho's childhood friend and fellow engineer. She had worked with him on Earth and knew him better than anyone. The Earth leaders sent her as a special observer and helper. She was kind, brave, and smart. Yuri cared deeply for Jiho. She had kept her feelings secret, but seeing him now with aliens, her heart ached. She wanted to protect him, but she also wanted him to be happy. When they first met on the ship, Yuri, smiled warmly. I'll be with you, Jiho. We will get through this together. Jiho nodded. He felt stronger with her by his side. The first challenge was a test of skill. Each contestant had to repair a broken machine that controlled the ship's life support. It was complex and delicate. Zalric tried to fix it with power, smashing parts to make new connections. It did not work. Vela studied the controls and tried to speak to the ship's AI in many languages, but the machine did not respond. Jiho stepped forward, calm and focused. He used his hands carefully, applying what he had learned from years in space. He listened to the machine's quiet hum, finding the weak points. Slowly, the machine came back to life. The ship's air systems glowed green, signaling success. Thalavara smiled. Well done, Jiho. Your careful heart saved us all. After the success, Jiho and Yuri spent quiet moments together. They shared memories from Earth, the stars they had watched, the times they fixed broken tools together. Yuri's eyes held sadness and hope. You're not alone in this, Jiho. We all believe in you. Jiho felt a warmth in his chest. This contest was bigger than just winning a queen's heart. It was about trust and friendship. As days passed, the contest grew harder. The next test was about courage. The contestants had to enter a dark cave inside the ship. The cave was filled with strange creatures that tested their fears. Zalric charged forward, fighting the creatures fiercely. Vela tried to talk her way past, but the creatures did not listen. Jiho remembered something his mother once told him. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to face it. Taking a deep breath, Jiho stepped into the darkness. The creatures moved close, but he did not attack. Instead, he spoke softly, calming them with quiet words and gentle movements. Slowly, the creatures parted, allowing him to pass. When he came out, Thalvara's eyes shone with respect. In the quiet moments, Thalvara and Jiho talked alone. The queen was curious about human emotions, about love and pain. Why do humans feel so deeply, she asked. Jiho thought. Because our hearts grow stronger with every challenge, because love makes us brave. Thalvara nodded slowly. Your people are strange but beautiful. Meanwhile, Yuri watched the queen carefully. She noticed how Thalvara looked at Jiho, not just as a contestant, but with real interest and care. This made Yuri's heart ache. She wanted to protect her friend, but she also saw that the queen was not just a cold ruler. One evening, Yuri approached Thalvara quietly. Do you really understand what it means to love a human? The queen's tall figure looked thoughtful. I am learning. Humans are different from my people. Their emotions are strong and often confusing. But I feel something for Jiho that I cannot explain. Yuri nodded. Love is not easy. It asks for patience and sacrifice. Thalvara smiled faintly. Then I have much to learn. The competition was more than tests and challenges. It was a meeting of two worlds. Jiho learned about the Zorellan customs and their values of honor and duty. Thalvara learned about Earth's hopes and fears, and the quiet courage in its people. The other contestants began to see Jiho not as a weak human, but as someone with a spirit they respected. One day, Zalric approached Jiho. You are not like the others. You fight with kindness. That is rare. Jiho smiled. I fight to protect what I love. But the contest was not just about friendship. It was also about competition. Some aliens whispered among themselves. They did not believe a human could win a queen's heart. Vela said quietly to Thalvara, why waste your time on him? He is fragile and weak compared to us. Thalvara's eyes flashed. Strength is not only muscle or skill. Sometimes, it is the heart. The queen's choice was clear. She would not follow tradition. She would find the mate who understood her best. As the contest moved forward, Jiho found himself caught between two worlds. He had Yuri, who cared deeply for him, and Thalvara, the giant queen with a curious heart. He did not know what the future held, but he knew one thing. He would give everything to show the best of humanity. The galaxy watched, waiting to see if a humble human engineer could win the heart of a 13-foot alien queen. The space station orbiting Earth was quiet except for the hum of machines and the distant twinkle of stars. But inside the great crystal ship, tensions were rising. The contest was more than just tests and challenges now. It was about two very different worlds trying to understand each other. Thalvara, the towering queen, walked slowly through the hall. Her face was serious. She thought about Jiho, the human engineer she had come to respect and even care for. But things were not simple. The other aliens watched her closely, some with jealousy, others with doubt. Jiho sat quietly in the ship's garden. The peaceful plants and soft light helped him think. He felt the weight of the contest on his shoulders. He was only human after all. Surrounded by powerful aliens, he sometimes felt small and unsure. But he also felt something stronger inside. Hope. The leaders of Earth were watching the contest closely. Many hoped it would lead to peace and friendship with the Zorellan Empire. But others were worried. What if the Queen's feelings were a trick? What if her people wanted more than friendship? Yuri, Jiho's childhood friend and companion, was one of the few who understood his struggles. She saw how the Queen's presence affected him both in good ways and hard ways. One day, Yuri decided to speak with Thalvara alone. She wanted to understand the Queen better, but she also wanted to protect Jiho. They met in a small room filled with earth plants that Thalvara had asked for. The Queen's blue skin seemed softer in the green light. Yuri looked at her carefully. "Do you really know what it means to love a human?" she asked quietly. Thalvara's eyes shone with a strange light. "I am learning, but it is difficult. Humans feel deeply. Their emotions are sometimes confusing." Yuri nodded. "Love is not just about power or beauty. It is about understanding and patience. It is about sacrifice." The Queen was silent for a moment. Then she said, "I want to understand. But what if my people do not accept my choice? What if they want me to return and forget this contest?" Yuri looked at her kindly. "Then you must choose what is true to your heart, but be ready to face the consequences." Back on the ship, the other alien contestants were growing restless. Some whispered that the Queen was making a mistake. They believed Jiho was too weak to win her heart. Zalrik, the strong warrior, confronted Jiho one day. "You are not like us," he said. "You are fragile. How can you hope to be the mate of a queen?" Jiho looked up calmly. "I am not strong like you, but I have my own strength. I believe in love and kindness." Zalrik shook his head but said nothing more. The Queen watched all this quietly. She admired Jiho's courage and kindness, but she also saw the challenges ahead. One night she found Jiho alone on the ship's balcony, looking out at Earth below. She stepped beside him. "You carry a heavy burden," she said softly. Jiho nodded. "I want to do my best, but sometimes I wonder if I belong here." Thalvara smiled. "You belong where your heart is, and your heart is strong." They talked long into the night, sharing hopes and fears. The Queen told Jiho about her people, their traditions, their wars, and their hopes for peace. Jiho told her about Earth, its beauty, its problems, and its dreams. They found common ground in their desire for a better future. But the contest was not only about feelings. Political pressure was growing. The Zorellan Council, rulers of the Queen's Empire, were impatient. They demanded Thalvara return and choose a mate from their own people. If she refused, they threatened war. Thalvara was torn. She did not want to lose the chance to be with Jiho, but she also did not want to bring war to the stars. She called a meeting with the council. Her voice was calm, but strong. "I have chosen to explore this path," she said. "The human's heart is different from ours. It may be the key to peace, not war." The council was silent. Then a cold voice answered, "You betray your people, Queen. Return now, or face the consequences." Thalvara knew she had little time. Meanwhile, Yuri continued to support Jiho. She worried about the Queen's safety and the contest's outcome. One day, Yuri found Jiho working on a repair in the ship's engine room. She looked at him with concern. "Jiho, you must be careful," she said. "There are those who do not want this contest to succeed. Some may try to stop it by force." Jiho looked up, determination in his eyes. "I know, but I will not give up. For Earth, for you, and for Thalvara." Yuri smiled sadly. "Then I will stand with you." Tensions reached a breaking point when a group of extremists on Earth tried to attack the ship. They believed humans should not trust aliens and wanted to stop the contest. The attack was sudden and violent. Explosions shook the ship. Alarms rang out. Jiho and Yuri rushed to help. They worked together to stop the damage and protect the Queen. In the chaos, Yuri was injured trying to save Jiho from falling debris. Thalvara acted quickly. Using her people's advanced healing technology, she saved Yuri's life. This act surprised everyone. The Queen risked her power and safety for a human who was not even her chosen mate. After the attack, Jiho sat beside Yuri's hospital bed. He held her hand gently. "Thank you for saving her," he said to Thalvara when she came to visit. The Queen looked tired but calm. "Her life is precious. So is the future of both our peoples." Jiho looked at her with new respect. He saw not just a queen, but a leader who cared deeply. The attack changed many things. It showed the dangers of fear and hate, but it also showed the power of love and courage. Jiho felt more certain. He wanted to fight not with weapons but with hope. The contest was no longer just about winning a queen's heart. It was about building a future where humans and aliens could live in peace. The ship was quiet now, but inside the air was heavy with tension. The Council's threats echoed in Thalvara's mind. They demanded she return to her home planet and choose a mate from her own people. If she refused, the risk of war would grow. Thalvara stood tall in her chamber, looking out at the stars. She was a queen, a leader, and a warrior. But now her heart was caught between duty and desire. Jiho was waiting outside, unsure what the future held. He felt the weight of everything, the hopes of Earth, the pressure from alien worlds, and the growing feelings between him and the Queen. That morning, Thalvara called for a meeting with Jiho and Yuri. The three sat together in the ship's garden, surrounded by plants from Earth. The gentle green leaves seemed to soften the heavy mood. "I have made a decision," Thalvara said, her voice steady but full of emotion. "I will not return to my planet to marry by their rules. I want to choose my mate by my own heart." Jiho looked at her, surprise and hope mixing in his eyes. Yuri reached out, taking Jiho's hand gently. "But," Thalvara continued, "this choice will bring conflict. The Council will not accept it easily. We must be ready for the consequences." Jiho nodded slowly. "I will stand with you, no matter what." Yuri smiled, her eyes shining with courage. "We will face this together." The Council did not wait long to respond. A message came from the Zarellan leaders. "Return immediately or be declared an enemy of the Empire." Thalvara knew she could not hide forever. She sent a message back. "I choose my own path." The Council's anger was clear. They sent a fleet of ships to bring her home, by force if needed. The space around Earth grew crowded with warships. The humans and their allies watched nervously. Earth's leaders held emergency meetings, fearing the worst. Jiho and Yuri worked quickly to prepare the ship's defenses. It was a peaceful ship, not built for war, but they hoped to buy time. Thalvara stood on the bridge, looking out at the approaching fleet. She felt the burden of her people's expectations and her own heart's call. "I will not let my people destroy the chance for peace," she said quietly. "But I will not give up on what I believe." The first battle began with warning shots. The Zarellan fleet fired weapons that could destroy entire planets. The crystal ship raised its shields, glowing bright against the dark space. Jiho and Yuri worked fast, repairing damage and coordinating the crew. The ship's technology was advanced but fragile. In the chaos, Thalvara moved among her people, calming fears and giving orders. Her voice was strong, a queen's voice full of power and hope. "We fight not for war, but for a future where we choose love and peace," she told them. On the battlefield, Jiho's human spirit surprised many. He did not just fix machines, he inspired those around him. His calm under pressure helped the crew work better. Even Zalric, the strong warrior who once doubted Jiho, fought alongside him now, respect growing between them. The battle lasted for hours. The crystal ship took damage, but it held. After the fighting stopped, a quiet moment came. The Zorellan fleet retreated, but the threat remained. Thalvara called a meeting with the leaders of Earth and her people. It was time to find a new way. She spoke with passion. "This war will only bring pain. We must find a path to peace. Together." Jiho stepped forward. "We may be different, but we share hope. We can build a future where all beings live in harmony." The council leaders were not ready to agree. Some remained cold and hard, but Thalvara's words planted a seed. That night, Jiho walked with Yuri on the ship's balcony. The stars above were bright and silent. "I never imagined my life would lead here," Jiho said softly. "From a small Earth town to the center of the galaxy's future." Yuri smiled. "You have grown so much. You have a strength that no one can take away." Jiho looked at her, grateful. "Thank you for standing by me." Yuri's eyes glistened. "Always." Meanwhile, Thalvara stood alone, thinking about her people. She knew the path ahead was dangerous, but she also knew she could not give up. She sent a message to the council. "I will fight for peace, but I will also fight for love." The queen's choice was clear. She was ready to risk everything for what she believed in. Days passed, and the contest entered its final phase. The remaining contestants gathered for one last test, a challenge of trust. Each would share a secret from their past, something that showed who they truly were. Zalric spoke first. He told of battles and losses, the pain of losing his family in war. Vela shared stories of loneliness and sacrifice in the name of diplomacy. When it was Jiho's turn, he took a deep breath. He spoke of Earth, of his childhood dreams, and the fear he felt when he left home. But he also spoke of hope for a better future and the belief that love could change everything. Thalvara listened closely. She saw the truth in his words. At last, the queen stood before the contestants. Her voice was clear and strong. "I have made my choice," she said. The room grew silent. Jiho's heart beat fast. Thalvara looked at him, eyes full of warmth. "Jiho, you have shown me the strength of the human heart. You have taught me that love is more than power or tradition." She paused. "I choose you." The room erupted in gasps and whispers. Some cheered, others frowned. Jiho stepped forward, stunned but happy. He looked at Thalvara, and then at Yuri. Yuri smiled softly, hiding her pain but wishing him well. Thalvara took Jiho's hand. "Together we will face whatever comes." But the contest was not truly over. The council's anger remained. The threat of war still loomed. Jiho and Thalvara knew their love would face many trials, but they were ready. They believed in each other, and in a future where two worlds could become one. The great crystal ship floated above Earth, its surface glowing softly under the stars. Inside, lights flickered as repairs continued from the last battle. Though the ship had survived, the war was not truly over. Thalvara stood beside Jiho on the command bridge. Their hands were joined, two different beings from different worlds now facing the galaxy together. Behind them, Yuri and the crew worked quietly. Everyone knew that the hardest part was still to come. The Zorellan Council had not accepted Thalvara's decision. She had chosen Jiho, a human. To them, it was more than love. It was rebellion. The council prepared for one final move, to force her back. Jiho walked the ship halls thinking. His heart felt heavy, not with regret, but with worry. He had finally found love, something real and beautiful, but it came with danger. Yuri joined him, her steps soft beside his. "Are you ready?" she asked gently. Jiho looked at her. "I'm not sure if anyone could be ready for this, but I know I won't run away." Yuri smiled. "That's the Jiho I know." He looked away, then back at her. "You've always stood by me." "I always will," she said. A message arrived from the Zarellan Council, a final demand. Thalvara was to surrender herself, leave Earth, and end the foolish contest. If not, the Zarellan fleet would attack both the crystal ship and Earth. The threat was real. The Council had warships powerful enough to destroy cities. Earth had little defense against such power. Thalvara gathered her crew and allies. Her tall figure stood firm as she addressed them. "I will not return in chains," she said. "I will not give up Jiho. But I will not let Earth suffer because of me." She turned to Jiho. "I must go to them. Not to surrender, but to speak." "One last chance to make peace." "No," Jiho said quickly. "It's too dangerous." Yuri stepped forward. "There must be another way." Thalvara shook her head. "Sometimes a leader must face danger for peace." Jiho wanted to argue, but he saw her face. She was not afraid for herself. She was afraid for others. "Then I'll go with you," he said. Her eyes softened. "If you come, they may see this not as war, but as unity." Together, Jiho and Thalvara flew to the Zarellan mothership in a small diplomatic shuttle. Yuri stayed behind, preparing the crew in case things went wrong. The Zarellan ship was massive, cold, and silver like a blade. As they landed, Jiho felt his heart beating fast. Guards with tall armor waited outside. The council chamber was dark and filled with echoes. The leaders sat on tall thrones. Their faces were cold, their voices sharp. "You have disobeyed your duty," one said. "You are no longer queen." "I am still your queen," Thalvara said clearly. "I choose peace. I choose love. You taught us to conquer, but I have learned that love is stronger than fear." The council laughed bitterly. "And this human?" another asked. "You would share your rule with such a weak creature?" Jiho stepped forward. His voice was quiet but firm. "I am not weak. I don't come from war. But I know how to stand by someone I love." Thalvara looked at him with pride. A sudden silence fell. The oldest council member, a thin figure with silver eyes, spoke softly. "Perhaps the queen is right," he said. "Perhaps we have lost the meaning of rule. Perhaps it is time to learn again." Gasps filled the chamber. Another counselor shouted, "Traitor!" The old one shook his head. "Wisdom is not weakness." A vote was called. To let Thalvara keep her title and her choice, or to strip her power forever. The vote was close. Finally, the final voice said, "Let her rule. Let her love. Let us not destroy ourselves over fear." Back on the crystal ship, Yuri watched the news come in. "They made peace?" she asked. The crew around her began to cheer. When Jiho and Thalvara returned, the ship's halls were full of light and celebration. Thalvara stepped out with a calm smile. Jiho looked tired but happy. Yuri hugged him tightly. "You did it." "No," he said, smiling. "We did." Weeks passed. The Zarellan Empire began new talks with Earth. Leaders from both sides met. For the first time without weapons. Thalvara stayed on Earth often, learning human ways. She visited Jiho's small hometown and tasted real Earth food. She walked in gardens, learned to laugh at small things, and even watched a sunset. She sat beside Jiho in a quiet park one evening. "I thought love was something soft," she said. "But it's not. It's the strongest thing in the universe." Jiho looked at her. "Stronger than war. Stronger than fear," she agreed. A great ceremony was held in orbit above Earth. It was part wedding, part peace treaty. Aliens from many planets came. Earth leaders, Zarellan nobles, and even former contestants stood as guests. Yuri stood beside Jiho as his witness. Her smile was proud, even as a part of her heart still ached. But she knew it was right. Thalvara wore royal robes of deep blue. Jiho wore a simple black suit. The ceremony was not about wealth or power. It was about two beings choosing each other, not just for love, but for a better future. When they joined hands, the stars seemed to shine brighter. Later that night, Jiho stood with Yuri looking at the stars. "Do you think this will last?" he asked. Yuri nodded. "I think you've already changed the galaxy," he smiled. "I couldn't have done it without you." She touched his arm. "Just promise you'll keep fighting for peace." "Always," he said. The story of Jiho and Thalvara spread across the stars. Some called it strange. Others called it brave, but most called it hope. For the first time in many years, planets began to speak instead of fight. The Intergalactic Bachelor contest ended. There would be no more competitions. Instead, the Council voted to start the Intergalactic Harmony Program, where different species could learn and live together. And at the center of it all were a human named Jiho and a 13-foot-tall queen who had followed her heart. They did not live a perfect life. There were still problems, misunderstandings, and new challenges, but they faced them together. One heart, one step, one choice at a time. And sometimes when they looked up at the stars, they remembered the moment when love changed the galaxy,